I dread using these. I'm normally loud enough without being let loose on a microphone. I just want to echo what everyone else has said, really, and thanks for inviting us along. It's been cool to speak to as many people as possible. If I haven't spoke to you, sorry, I guess that's my fault, and maybe I will during the rest of the afternoon. So I'm Jack Sargeant. I'm a second-year PhD student at Loughborough University in the UK, which I gather is harder to pronounce than I thought. I'm sponsored by these guys, a biomedical research unit focusing on diet, lifestyle and physical activity, which means that everything I present always ends up very red. Most of my PhD work is focused on a pilot exercise training intervention study, which we've called the LIVE study, and I want to talk to you a little bit about that today. So hopefully this is as clear as it can be. We have recruited a number of patients with fatty liver disease and put them through a 4-month program, really, give or take a few weeks. Things like Christmas crop up and throw things off significantly. We screen them at the beginning, making sure that they have they're healthy enough to take part in the exercise program, but also they have a degree of fat accumulation in the liver. And instead of recruiting a control group, everybody acts as their own control. And so for the first 6 weeks, they complete a control period where we ask them just to continue their normal diet and lifestyle habits. They then enter an exercise period of 6 weeks where we train them 3 times a week on one of these exercise bikes. This allows us to put some weights on the front to increase or decrease the resistance as required. And our exercise training is relatively novel in a clinical population in that it is a period of what we call sprint interval training. So they complete a number of 30-second all-out sprints, and they're never prepared for quite what this entails. It really is all-out sprints, and in between these they get 4.5 minutes of recovery, just turning their legs over to recover as much as possible. So it is a very extreme training protocol, and I guess a proof of concept study from that regard. Our main measures are our liver fat, which we use magnetic resonance spectroscopy for, and also diabetes risk. So we complete a 2-step euglycemic hyperinsulinemic clamp, which I'll only say once, which allows us, with the use of a tracer, to determine changes in liver insulin sensitivity and peripheral. And we also want to make sure that they are getting fitter, so we do our exercise physiologist, bog standard VO2 max test, the bread and butter of a sports science degree. So I'd like to show a few of the preliminary results. The study's been going on for the best part of 2.5 years, and we've got through 7. So it's been hard going, but it's almost done. We're going to have a total of 9 by the end. Hopefully this has come out okay. This is some descriptors of our population, so middle-aged, overweight, men only, I should say, with central obesity, but otherwise a healthy enough profile to satisfy the ethics board to let us exercise these people. And interestingly, we've talked a lot about weight loss over the course of the days. There's been absolutely no weight loss in our people at all. Hopefully in time we can talk about body composition, but the data available at the moment is only bioelectrical impedance, so it comes with its own limitations. So any results that I go on to show you are independent of weight loss, which is interesting in its own right. This is our VO2 peak, and we've succeeded in getting our guys fitter, which is great. So they've been turning up. I know they've been turning up. I've been there with them, shouting at them, making sure they actually do it properly, and it has got them fitter. In R7, we have seen a drift towards a lower liver fat at the end of the training, which would look much nicer if it wasn't for this one tricky individual who's completely ruining my stats by deciding that liver fat is going to go up. So yeah, a very interesting discussion point in its own right. Again, this is seen even greater in our insulin clamp data. This is the glucose utilization or glucose infusion rate in the second phase of our clamp. So this is looking at whole peripheral insulin sensitivity. And we've seen a really stark contrast in responders and non-responders. So you can see I've put lots of animations onto this slide to keep to the 2-slide limit. But if I plot our participants one plot at a time, we've got this guy, absolutely nothing. His mate got worse, absolutely nothing from a third, maybe a little drift, and then 3 guys who absolutely went through the roof, with this last person losing a bit of, or getting worse in his control phase, which potentially magnifies the response from the training. So this is certainly something I'd like to look a bit more into in the future. It's really quite stark differences in individual responses to this kind of training. So yeah, again, nice to meet everyone. Hopefully that was relatively interesting. It's cool to see a broad range of areas, and hopefully I'll see lots of you all in the future.
Thank you.